So what is going on with the album art for A Dirge For Dregs? Well, before I dive into the concept and the thought process that birthed it, let me first introduce you to the individual components that make it up. So you've got like a moon up there, and just to be clear, this is just the moon that's like close to our planet. This isn't one of like Saturn's or Jupiter's moons, although that would have been a really cool story, but I just don't quite know how I'd get a clear photo of it, unless... Well, we got this telescope right here, and that's supposed to see space, right? So let's try it out. Well, that didn't work, so I guess we'll stick to this moon then. And apart from that, we've got a bit of water there. You got 4 of me standing all cool with the back to the camera, a logo for the band, and the name of the album. So I guess that's all from me. Back over to you, Other John. Now that you're intimately familiar with each individual component, let me tell you a little bit about the process I went through to get there. So it all kind of started about 18 months ago when my wife and I took a couple of friends to the Paradox Museum here in Stockholm. And if you're not familiar with the Paradox Museum, it's effectively a building that houses loads of different rooms built to fuck with your mind in different ways. There's a room that makes you feel like you're spinning even though you're not. There's a room that introduces the idea of false perspective. But there was one room that just made me feel like I was that guy in Mallrats looking at the magic eye puzzle, unable to see anything, because I was just stood there in front of different colored light bulbs on a wall going, what the fuck is this? And my wife laughed at me and took a photo of me, showing me that I was looking at the wrong side of the room. If I would have turned around, I would have seen a series of shadows overlapping in different colors. When the time came to figure out the album art for A Dirge For Dregs, I sat down with my wife and we were talking through ideas, seeing as she is the visual artist of the household, and we kind of stumbled back upon that photo, and I loved the idea of sort of exploring this overlap of different versions of a character, seeing as that is quite tied to the lyrical concept, which will be explored in a video of its own. But on top of that, there were color ideas that I had in terms of representing some of the synth textures on the album, representing some of the differentiation of this album from the last one, and I wanted to go with quite a specific color spectrum. So I went with a sort of multimedia collage of a photo overlapping myself over myself in terms of these multicolored silhouettes. I wanted to use a photo that I'd taken of the moon just blown way out of proportion, a photo that I took of a lake but sort of representing the ocean, and really play around with all that to create something that looked and felt to me very representative of the album. And it was really fun to work with my wife, who's so much better at the visual art side of things than I am, while still having such an active participation in creating this, because to begin with, I was only going to kind of create a proof of concept or a sort of mood board, but the more I got into it, the more puzzle pieces started to click into place. And I ended up with something that, again, to me feels very representative of the sound and the mood that I wanted to create. If you have specific questions, whether about the album art or the process behind it or the album itself, different songs, etc., let me know in the comments or via messages on social media, because I do love making these videos and I have loads of ideas, but if you have specific questions, I'd love to get to them first and make sure that I tell you what you want to know. But whether you have questions or not, I do truly hope that you enjoy listening to A Dirge For Dregs. It was a long time coming. I put a lot of work and a lot of love into it, and I really hope that it resonates with some of you out there.